Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. So I know it's been a while, and I was sick. So I'm pretty sure I got the Omicron because I did a test and it came back negative actually, but then I still got sick, and I'm still actually kind of coughing a bit. So excuse me if there's random weird cuts in this video. But yeah, it came back negative, and I still felt really terrible for like a whole week or even more. And I'm pretty sure that was like a false negative because, yeah, I mean, getting sick for like whole weeks, what else could it be, right? But yeah, anyways, I'm back now, and wow, just because I was gone for like what, 3 weeks, a month, the entire world just like crashed and burned, and like the entire stock market is now broken. So, yeah, I guess that's punishment for me not making videos, right? But anyways, a lot of you have been asking me for a portfolio update. So yeah, let's go. So I'm not gonna bother showing each and every single one of my positions. Newsflash, they're all down except for Tesla because I bought Tesla like way back in the day, but everything else is way down. I'm just gonna show you the total. So I'm down more than 20%. So at one point, I think it was like November of 2021, it was when I hit the peak in my portfolio, and that was when I was at like over 100K total in value, Canadian dollars in total value. But yeah, I'm down more than 20% compared to that. But yeah, we're gonna go through why the market is crashing in the first place, and what I'm doing about it and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people have been just kind of panicking. So let me try to provide some reassurances. Okay, so I'm not selling everything. I know a lot of you who watch this channel also watch Meet Kevin, and he's been trying to like time the market and trying to like sell everything and buy back in. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, let me just preface by saying that I'm just gonna hodl all my stocks and crypto, and just kind of hunker down for the long term because I'm not gonna like try and do this like trade and time the market. And yeah, that's just not my style. Okay, so let's go through the reason though why the market is crashing. So first of all, is of course the Fed interest rate hike in the United States, right? So here in Canada, we're also affected by this, obviously, especially if you're invested in American stocks like I am. Right, so what basically is going on with that is that the Federal Reserve of the United States lowered interest rates to pretty much zero during like the pandemic to help stimulate the economy. But then now, because the interest rate is so low, it is non-existent. Inflation has ramped up really high. I think the like CPI rates in America has hit like 7%, which is incredibly high because just to keep that in mind, their target is like 2%. That's like what the standard is or what the ideal inflation rate is. And then 7% is just way insane, right? Like people are really suffering because the cost of everyday goods are just skyrocketing. So the Fed is really trying to do something about it. So as a result, they're hiking the interest rate and slowing down QE, right? Quantitative easing, meaning QE, you can just think of it as printing money. So yeah, anyways, that's what's going on. And because of that, interest rate hikes are not good for the stock market in general because it means that the money velocity, like the money, like credit is harder to get, and the amount of times that money circulates in the economy is going to start to slow down if money becomes harder and harder to borrow. Yeah, that's the reason for the pain in the stock market. And it's expected that they'll stop QE, stop like asset purchases in March, and then also at the same time jack up interest rates, right? So it remains to be seen whether it's going to be 1/4%, so from 0 to 0.25%, or if it's going to be 0.5%, right? So from 0 to 0.5%. So if it's from 0 to 0.5%, then that's going to be a bigger shock to the market. And if that's the case, you can probably expect stocks to go down even more. And unfortunately, that's the bad news. So until we get really the interest rate hikes going from this time until then, we're going to be facing a lot of uncertainty, and that might cause a lot more volatility in the market, right? So we've seen that recently where stocks just go up or down by like 10% a day for no reason, right? Or even more. So yeah, I mean that's just gonna kind of be the name of the game. What I will say, however, is that once the interest rate hikes start, that might might actually be a little bit better, even though interest rate hikes are not good for the like stock market as a whole, because they're going because it's already started and the news goes from a rumor to certainty. Then like markets really hate uncertainty, right? So just the fact that it becomes a certainty rather than like an uncertainty, like that might actually help boost the market, even though rate hikes are not good for the economy, right? So but yeah, I mean, it's all up to the it's all up in the air, and it's really hard to predict, right? So that's why like I don't try to time the market. I just kind of like look at some like macro trends. Obviously, I pay attention to trends, but yeah, I'm not really into like day trading or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna like dollar cost average DCA into the market. And I think now is actually a great time because a lot of stocks that that I've been like eyeing for a long time, they've dropped significantly since just like last year, right? Since just a few months ago. So it actually might be a great time to like average in more aggressively now that asset prices are lower. But we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, that's kind of like the portfolio update and the market outlook portion. And the next up, I want to talk about potentially buying the dip, right? So let me elaborate a little bit more on like what my strategy is. So for example, recently, I'm sure you guys have noticed, Meta stock, or Facebook as they're formerly called, reported their earnings and the stock crashed by like 25% in a day. So yeah, it was pretty bad of a report actually. They're like losing money and they're losing users, and their like kind of pivot to the metaverse is not working out that well so far, I would say. Although to be fair, a lot of the value for the metaverse is supposed to be like out in the future. So yeah, I don't know. It remains to be seen whether that's going to play out or not. So a lot of people have been asking me, am I going to buy the Meta dip? And to that, I'm going to have to say no. Not for now, at least. I know it's intriguing, and I'm sure that like Meta's like a pretty good company in general because they have like very big cash flows, and it's a really large cap company, right? So they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Facebook is just gonna go away because they're not, right? Like, and I have a hard time believing that the stock will be like lower than what it is now, like 5 years from now, right? They're gonna keep continuing to grow, but they might not be growing as fast as I would like, or as fast as some other assets or some other stocks that I would consider, right? And we'll talk about those later. And actually, I'll probably make a separate video on stocks that I would consider better buys than Meta. So yeah, look out for that video in the future. But for now, let me just name an example actually. So PayPal, for example, is I think one example of a company that I think is more undervalued and could potentially outperform Meta in the short term to medium term at least. Because I think that Meta, they're one of the biggest like kind of gripes with the analysts had with the earnings report was that they were predicting kind of 15 to 20% revenue growth, and then the like CFO just came out with like a prediction or with a guidance that was like 3 to 11% or something like that. Yeah, so it was the guidance was really bad on Meta, and like if it actually ends up only growing like 3% instead of 15% like what the analyst wants, that's going to hurt the stock a lot, and that's going to continue to hurt the stock going forward, right? But I had a look at the earnings report for PayPal, and I actually didn't think it was that bad, right? For sure, they lowered their guidance too, but it wasn't nearly as much as Meta. So looking at PayPal, I think I believe that it is still expected to grow around like 17 or 18% for the current 2022 fiscal year. So I think that yeah, PayPal is just like it's a much better play at this moment, and it's also down like more than 50% from its 52-week high, right? So yeah, anyways, that's just an example. It's not supposed to be a deep dive. I'm gonna talk about like everything like this in a separate video probably, but that's just an example, right? So yeah, And another opportunity actually that I wanted to talk about was Tesla. So I think a lot of people were not taking the Tesla earnings report seriously. So Elon Musk was mentioning stuff about robots and AI and stuff, and like the analysts are all like, okay, that's cool, but when do we get the $25,000 Tesla? And Elon Musk is like, no, you don't get it. Like the robot and the AI portion is going to be such a bigger S curve, such a bigger market opportunity compared to like a $25,000 Tesla. And then the analysts are like, okay, that's cool, but what do we put on our spreadsheet? So like the analysts, they just don't see it, right? Because they can't really wrap their head around like what the robotics and AI kind of market will be, right? Like imagine that if you had a finished product, right? Although granted we're far away from that, but if you believe in Elon Musk, I think that will be a future, and I certainly do. I think that will be a future that Tesla can provide to us, where they build this robot, and then this robot can like replace minimum wage workers because it's like it's a humanoid robot, right? So it can do anything like simple that a human can do, and like for minimum wage jobs, usually it just involves around like service or cleaning and stuff like that. So you can replace those workers with the robots, and then that frees up that human capital, and those people can like go ahead and pursue other like areas that interest them more than just cleaning a kitchen all day or doing whatever like minimum wage work is these days, right? So yeah, I think that's just a huge market, and that's like trillions and trillions of dollars. But obviously, it's not something that you can plug into a spreadsheet. I think that's the biggest problem that analysts have an issue with. And as a result, people said that the Tesla earnings report was not good, or like Tesla didn't really move that much after the earnings report. So I thought that was kind of unfair, but whatever. Analysts are gonna be Wall Street analysts, right? So in these times, though, my like kind of advice to everyone, and this is not financial advice, this is just like life advice, is just that like think about your ownership in a company or in the market or in a network or something. So don't focus on the price. Focus on the percentage ownership. So for example, whether it be Tesla stock or Bitcoin or PayPal stock or Meta stock or whatever, right? Like focus on how many shares you can acquire, and the more shares you have, the more percentage ownership you have in a company, right? So your percentage ownership goes up. And now is a great opportunity to increase your percentage ownership in great companies because the price has fallen, right? So don't think of your portfolio in terms of price. Think like how much percent, however small, of Tesla do I own like a year ago compared to how much percent of Tesla do I own now, right? And most likely that number has gone up if you think of percentages, right? So unless you sold, but yeah, don't panic sell, guys. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So next up, let's talk about crypto. So I have been buying the dip here and there on BTC and ETH. So there's an unwritten rule that in crypto that says don't talk about how much crypto you have. So I wouldn't say like exactly how much crypto I have, but I will tell you the average price of my entire Bitcoin and ETH positions. So these are in US dollars, by the way. So for Bitcoin, I believe my average cost is right around 42,000 per coin USD, right? So I think we're just like a hair under that right now. So I'm like pretty much break even on that, which, I'm both happy and sad about, because like I saw it go up to like 69K at its highest point, and I didn't sell any of it, and I just kept on hodling, and then now it's back down to my average break-even cost. So I started like averaging in really aggressively at the beginning of 2021, but then like it started running up, and in the middle of 2021 I was still buying, and that was when prices were rather high. So yeah, I kind of, if you want to think about it, spent the past like year or so with zero progress on that position, essentially, because like I'm still break even. But then again, as I said just minutes earlier, don't think of it as like prices, think of it as percentage ownership, right? So my percentage ownership has certainly gone way up of the Bitcoin network has certainly gone way up since 2021, but the prices have remained the same, which I'm okay with, right? So Bitcoin, you're just supposed to kind of just hodl it and just wait. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, right? So that's Bitcoin. And ETH. My average cost is around 1,900 US dollars. So, assuming that, I think it's around 3,000 US dollars right now. So I'm up about 30%, just over 30% on that position. So yeah, ETH has been a pretty good performer. I think being up 30% in a year is not bad performance at all. So that's my average cost on those two. And I also have altcoins, right? So I have some ADA, some Solana, I have Matic. So I have a bunch of like random altcoins, but they're very small positions in my crypto portfolio. So if you want to just give a example or give you an idea of what my crypto portfolio looks like, it's pretty much like 50% Bitcoin, 40% ETH, and 10% everything else, right? So the everything else includes like Solana, ADA, all the stuff that I just talked about. So those take up very small percentages in my portfolio. So yeah, I mean, those are like all over the place, right? So Sol, I'm down quite a bit. Matic, I think I'm up overall. And I think I also have some Polkadot, by the way, and that's been like kind of in the gutters as well. So that's down. But it's just kind of all over the place right now, so I'm not gonna bother going through each and every single one. Bitcoin and ETH are really my like biggest positions. Anyways, yeah, now let me move on to talk about the outlook that I have for the crypto market going forward. So I think that we still haven't hit the peak of this cycle, of the cycle that started on the halving of 2020 up until 2024. So I still think that we haven't hit like the blow off top phase yet. And I do think that this will be triggered, or at least there will be a big catalyst coming in 2020 with the American SEC approving the Bitcoin spot ETF. So I think that at some point in 2022, if not like mid 2022, is what I'm hearing from people on the street, because Grayscale is one of the biggest funds right now. Grayscale, if you don't know who they are, it's a trust that holds a bunch of Bitcoin already. And they're filing to convert their trust into an ETF. So I think that that might happen in June. Don't quote me. If it doesn't happen, I think it'll probably happen near the end of the year in 2022. Once that happens, I think that it's going to allow a lot of institution with big money to come into the crypto space. Or to Bitcoin specifically, but in turn crypto as well. And I think that will be a great catalyst to propel Bitcoin to all-time highs again. So yeah, I'm on the lookout for that. And even if that doesn't happen, then I think there's still other catalysts, and Bitcoin is like, the cycle has gone longer, right? So I know I said that Bitcoin was going to hit 100K at the end of 2021, and I was wrong. I still haven't cracked open that Tesla whiskey yet. So, I mean, I'm still waiting, right? And I still got my hat up there already, the Bitcoin 100K hat. So, I still haven't touched those, and those are ready to go. And I still believe that Bitcoin will hit 100K. If it wasn't 2021, it will probably be 2022. Or if not 2022, then it will be 2023. But before the next halving cycle in middle of 2024 for sure. So, at this point, you just kind of got to be patient, right? There's nothing else that you need to do besides hodl and don't panic sell. And I think that that's like just been the strategy, and it's going to be the strategy going forward, right? So yeah, regarding other plays in the crypto space, I know we talked about Meta, and I think one of the issues with Meta is that and why I don't really believe in their metaverse is that I don't really foresee the metaverse as being something that's being controlled by one single company, right? So the way that Meta is going about it is that they're building kind of like their own metaverse system, like Facebook's metaverse, right? And I don't think that that's going to work out very well. And I've owned Meta stock in the past, back when it was just called Facebook. And like I really like the social media business, albeit it's pretty controversial and like they're always embroiled in some controversy. But I was okay with that. But then when they pivoted to the metaverse, I was like, I'm less enthusiastic about that. And you guys know that I'm like a huge crypto nerd, so I really do believe in the metaverse as a whole. I just don't really believe in Facebook's vision of the metaverse, if that makes sense, right? I think I picture the metaverse as being an open space where it doesn't matter like whether or not you're like a Meta or a Facebook believer, or you're on like Snapchat's version, or you're on like TikTok's version. I don't know, like or you just want to like sign up with like a MetaMask wallet and then just like use that as your online identity and stuff like that, right? So I believe in like an open metaverse, and I think that Facebook is like going about this like a little bit wrong. And I can see it kind of with what Jack Dorsey was saying, right? Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Block, formerly Square, he was saying how like instead of doing the Libra/DM project where they were trying to build their own cryptocurrency, like a Facebook stablecoin, they should have just like worked with Bitcoin, which is open and decentralized to begin with, right? But Facebook didn't want to do that. So, and that's why like Libra and DM has failed, right? And then they sold the entire department already and they shut down the project. So yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. So that's also part of the reason why I'm not so much interested in buying Meta stock. But hey, like my opinions can change, right? So if Facebook really starts delivering something special in the future that it's like, wow, no one else has this and Facebook is the only one that's doing this, then yeah, I'd be happy to buy back in the stock. And I think that the stock is actually really cheap right now, especially for a technology company, right? But I'm just not that enthused right now about Meta, is what I'm trying to say. What I am enthused about, I talked about PayPal already. Another stock that I'm really excited about is Microstrategy, MSTR. So Microstrategy is trading for a massive discount right now in comparison to their Bitcoin balance sheet. So I think I did the math at around $40,000 to $41,000 per Bitcoin. Their whole Bitcoin bag, their Bitcoin balance on their balance sheet is worth about 5.1 billion, and at today's market cap, I think MSTR is only trading for like 4.5 billion. So what, you're getting like a 15% discount on just the Bitcoin that they're holding in their balance sheet if you buy MSTR, right? Because if you buy a company's stock, you own part of the balance sheet, right? So you're effectively buying Bitcoin at a discount if you're buying MSTR. Plus, we're not even counting their software business. So yeah, actually a lot of people forget that MicroStrategy used to be a software company, right? They didn't start off as a Bitcoin ETF. So before they even bought a single Bitcoin, their software business by itself was worth about $1 billion, right? So yeah, I mean, if you just add that, then technically shouldn't the fair value of MicroStrategy be around $6.1 billion, right? And they're trading for 4.5, right? So I think that overall, like, you're looking at a great opportunity. And if MicroStrategy, if the discount wasn't there, which it shouldn't be, right? Because they're holding Bitcoin and they're running a positive cash flowing business. So if that like discount wasn't there, then MicroStrategy should easily be like 20-30% higher than what it is now, right? So yeah, anyways, that's my opinion on MicroStrategy. Moving on, lastly, while I was away, I didn't waste all my time, right? So I did make my own NFT collection. It's on Polygon, and I've listed it on, or I put it on OpenSea. I didn't list them. So my intention was not to like sell them. So I mean, you can make an offer if you want, and if it's like for enough money, I will sell them. But my intention is not to sell them. I just kind of wanted to like dip my feet into the NFT space, if you want to call it that, right? So yeah, I just kind of wanted to take some of the drawings that I made. Like I was like pretty into art for a while when I was young, and I drew some pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, let's make that into an NFT, right? And it's actually really easy to make it into an NFT on Polygon, and it's like pretty much free, right? So yeah, I can probably make a video at some point showing you guys how to do that as well. If you guys are interested, let me know if you are. But yeah, a link down in the description for my NFT collection. Yeah, I again, as I said, I've like put them up, but I haven't really like listed them, and I'm not like trying to sell them. It's just kind of like a fun project. Anyways, I think that's it for today. That's all the things that I've missed. Again, sorry I've been away for so long. Yeah, I hope to be back and making videos on a semi-frequent basis once again. So thank you guys for all the support, and thank you guys for not just completely ditching me while I was gone. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and I would also really appreciate it if you guys could hit the like button as well, because it did take a long time to make this video, and I'm still kind of coughing a bit. So yeah, I would appreciate if you guys could hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So be sure to also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, as I always put the link down below in the description. And yeah, have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.